The No More Fielders World Baseball Classic video. Subscribe.
March 18th, 2017. On a relatively chilly evening in San Diego, two powerhouses collide. The US and Dominican Republic clash in an elimination game to move on to the semifinals of the World Baseball Classic. The USA comes in with a combined 2 Major League MVPs and 18 total All-Star appearances. And the other corner is the Dominican Republic, who are a very good team. How good are they? Well, for one, they are the defending WBC champions, when they rolled through the tournament undefeated as if they were a major league squad barnstorming through the indie leagues. And it could be argued this iteration of the team is better, as they have retained the potent bats of Nelson Cruz and Robinson Cano from the 2013 squad, while adding the talents of prime Manny Machado, Starling Marte, Jose Bautista, along with the fierce, the large, and menacing Jumbo Diaz. For another, the Dominican Republic already showed their might against the US in the first round by mounting a comeback down from 5 runs to cruise into a 7-5 victory. The Dominican Republic is an MLB-ready talent factory. In 2022, 90 MLB players are from the DR, which translates to 0.0008% of the country's population. Doesn't sound that impressive, does it? Well, the biggest player pool in Major League Baseball is the US, whose MLB players make up 0.0001% of the country's population. It's uncanny how many players the small island country with the same population of Illinois produces, and tonight is the night for them to show all of what they have to offer. And show up they did, as they shut out the US in the top of the first on 9 pitches, with the slick fielding Manny Machado making 2 elegant plays from the hot corner, a sight that will soon become familiar to the San Diego crowd. Another soon-to-be familiar sight is seeing Machado on first, this as a result of an error by the typically sure-handed Brandon Crawford. How sure-handed was he? Well, in the previous year, Crawford ranked 7th out of 24 shortstops in fielding percentage, as it would be the highest mark in his career. Weirdly enough, his last error also came off the bat of Manny Machado to complete Crawford's odd journey of booting plays against slow runners in 2016. Part of Manny's claims as a slow runner is due to his lack of hustle, as called out by the mighty compassionate and not at all cranky boomer John Smoltz.
Manny Machado wasn't exactly busting it out of the box.
This is a demon that Machado will have to face, as his role of villain will be developed and eventually relinquished in the coming years. The beautiful yet somewhat unsettling inside-out swing of 2013 tournament MVP Robinson Cano gets the DR up to an early lead, while more miscues from USA's defense sets up a Carlos Santana RBI single. The jubilance from the Dominicans' dugout is refracted by the utter stoicism of the US. However, what could have been a demoralizing third run is stymied by Brandon Crawford on a warpath to redeem his original sin, by using his quick wits to focus all his energy into throwing out Nelson Cruz, who, all due respect here, is built like a bulldozer, at home, instead of challenging Starling Marte at first, who might have been the fastest man in the stadium that day. Despite the temporary halting of momentum, Dominican starter Ervin Santana puts up a crucial goose egg the next half inning to stifle any impetus the US team gained from Crawford's heads-up play. This is, of course, Ervin Santana we're talking about, because y'all know the only pitchers to accumulate more innings than Ervin Santana from 2006 to 2017 were Justin Verlander, Felix Hernandez, James Shields, Cole Hamels, and CC Sabathia. He was also the last guy to throw 3 shutouts in a single season. Yet, we don't really talk about him all that much, do we? Even though the game is still in its infancy, the early lead by the DR creates a feeling of unease for the US. As of now, they'll have to put up at least 3 runs against them to win, and most likely, it'll need to be a bit more. USA starter Danny Duffy gets around a Wellington Castillo double to set it up for the US in the top of the third. Giancarlo Don't Call Me Mike Stanton hits a bullet that phases through space and time to land in right field, which sets up a hit and run. Yes, let's go hit and run, old school baseball, baby, to get runners on the corners with 0 outs for Ian Mr. 1999 Kinsler. Now, Kinsler has a particular set of skills, one of which is making consistent contact no matter where the ball is placed in the zone, which he does again and again and again, until he squibs the out of an Irvin Santana curveball to put the first run for the US on the board, cutting the lead in half. Next up is Adam Jones. Let's talk about him. Jones went to high school less than 8 miles away from where he currently stands. As a multi-sport athlete, his interest in baseball was stoked by watching San Diego Padres great Tony Gwynn, whom he intended to play for at San Diego State University before being drafted by the Mariners 37th overall in 2003. However, Adam stayed close to the Gwynn family throughout his baseball career. When Tony died in 2014, after a years-long battle with cancer, Jones took it upon himself to be the godfather to Tony's grandson, son of fellow draftmate Tony Gwynn Jr. Before the game, Jones told him, "Your grandfather? He built this place." In a way, Tony's spirit lived in Jones the rare times the American League stalwart visited. But now, for the first and only time, Adam Jones gets to participate as a direct ally to the hometown fans. He pops up. Fortunately for the US, Danny Duffy puts up a solidifying goose egg himself. After 2 quick outs, Brandon Crawford, doing everything in his power to make the Earth forget his first inning blunder, cranks a line drive to center to keep the inning alive for Giancarlo Stanton. Oh, Giancarlo. Do your thing.
Stanton to left!
After the Duff man glues down the 4th, the game becomes a battle of the bullpens. Teams featuring arms such as Hector Neris, who would overcome woes with his current team to eventually pitch meaningful innings against them in the World Series 5 years later. Pat Neshek, who is just one of 6 non-active pitchers to have a win probability added of at least 8, with less than 40 career wins and 20 career saves, which is just something I find fascinating. I don't know. Also, he throws like this.
And the 1-2 to Cano.
Fernando Rodney, who is actually unreal in Petco Park. And finally, Jumbo Diaz. Just like when being down 2-0 felt like being down by 20-0, being up by 2 might as well make them feel tied. The US would have to play flawlessly to avoid making this Death Star fully operational.
7.
Oh,
Hit well out to right center field. Jones still on the move, running out of room, and he
wait, that's Adam Jones. The same Adam Jones who went to high school less than 8 miles away from where he currently stands. And he just did that in this stadium in front of this crowd to his teammate? And it's not like that catch would have mattered that much if
Cano the other way. Yelich back. And he can't make the catch on this ball.
Oh, the USA, in the position of taker rather than beggar, puts up 2 important insurance runs before the human trash can Sam Dyson and the ever-reliable Luke Gregerson shut the door on the flailing DR. And what better symbolic way to get the final out than Brandon Crawford completing his arc against the guy who started it. And that's it. Dragon slain. They aimed for the king, and they didn't miss. So Adam Jones, after having a career-defining moment, one that will live in highlight reels for years to come, as the US marches their way to their first WBC championship, how do you feel about this moment?
You see this atmosphere right now, it's unbelievable. This is like World Series. I haven't been in a World Series, but I'm anticipating this is close to it.
Close? To it? But this is the World Baseball Classic. You're playing for your country here. But why doesn't it feel like that? I'll be honest, folks. This is baseball at its peak. the storylines, the redemption arcs, the pairing of the game's top talent to have them play their minds out in this hyper-elimination tournament. It's all here. But why does it feel a little hollow? Today we see the FIFA World Cup as a world-binding event as the Earth's greatest soccer players come together to compete for the world title. The Olympics, both summer and winter to a lesser extent, sees 205 plus countries/territories send their best athletes to a glorified hostel in a soon-to-be bankrupted city so they can compete in a variety of events to crown the most athletic country in the world. Or something like that. I don't really watch the Olympics. I know the World Baseball Classic can't even come close to competing with these two entities for the time being. The International Olympic Committee is an unfathomably influential organization whose lifespan predates the First World War, while FIFA is another monolithic organization whose lifespan also predates the First World War. But baseball is in a unique position as one of the big four American sports. Basketball and hockey are currently, and barring any severe intervention, will always be backed by the Summer and Winter Olympics respectively. While they get the infrastructure from the IOC, it also will always ensure that they will never get their own dedicated international tournament. American football is, well, it's just that. American football. Hell, their international org is literally called the International Federation of American Football. Bit of an oxymoron, ain't it? Despite their best efforts, the international community is never going to adopt football enough to put even a remotely competitive tournament in place, unless you want to start tracing American players' ancestry back to the 1400s. Baseball, through its spheres of influence, has become an international game, and the World Baseball Classic is in a position to grab the bronze medal for most popular international competition, and that's fine. Sure, due to how the game is played, with major league teams wanting to protect the arms of their pitchers by imposing pitch limits, can feel sort of inauthentic. But honestly, I like it that way. It forces the managers to use their in-game resourcefulness, and requires each game to feel like a true team effort. And we have to understand that this is a tournament in its infancy. Hell, England, considered to be a soccer powerhouse just like the Dominican Republic is for baseball, didn't even compete in the World Cup until its fourth iteration. Fan acceptance and admiration doesn't come overnight. The lore is still being developed, but it's up to us to help facilitate it. Not to be cheesy, but I ask of you as a baseball fan to tune in and cheer for your country. Not a fan of the US even though you're a citizen? I get it. Then find a country you identify more closely with. Root for England because they have a guy named Kent Blackstone. This is the sport we love being played on a worldwide scale. And I know Adam Jones is right. It doesn't quite feel like the World Series. So let's change that by showing the up. And that's it. That was the No More Fielders World Baseball Classic video. Let's go. It's complete, baby. Let's go. I didn't think I was going to do this. I didn't have a good idea. I was going to do a video on the first World Baseball Classic that was played between the USA and England in 1938, where we just sent a bunch of high schoolers to Great Britain and they kicked our ass.